All right, we're going to get started here. So second keynote of the day is going to be Pierre Heinlein. I want to welcome him. And it's a pleasure to have him. They're also a sponsor for the openSUSE project. So let's give them a round of applause, and thank you.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the chance to speak here, and thanks for your time. Listen to me. For those who have never been in contact with Heinlein, because we are mostly located in the German-speaking area, not that international, we are in Linux and open source for more than 30 years. Actually, I started with SUSE Linux, I think, in 1994, or 5, I don't know. It was one of the first boxes that had not a version number on it. So thanks for SUSE to bringing me to Linux for some special guys, especially Chris Igler, that time. And for today, we are a Linux consulting company, also a software development company, because we want to provide solutions and answers, and we had customers who asked, what should we do? And every time when you told them what to do, we had a new idea on what we should do to provide a solution. Maybe you know us from mailbox.org, which is an email service. Maybe you know us from OpenTalk, which is a video conference solution, the successor of Jitsi and Big Blue Button, to kick off WebEx and Zoom out of the market. And yes, we do it right now. It's working with open source for sure. And what drives us is privacy, is open source. And yeah, this is all what I did my life and what we're doing here. I brought you a story about freedom and what a community has to do when freedom is in danger. This is a picture. Yes, it's ChatGPT. Sorry for the pictures in the slides, it's always so. But I asked ChatGPT about freedom, and this is a picture it gave me, and I think it's great, because what is a bully of Volkswagen Bus? It's freedom. You can go wherever you want, you can stay how long you want, you can take with you whoever you want, which is a great part of freedom. And you can do going to the sea, going to the mountains, just sitting around. This is freedom to decide what you want to do on a day-to-day basis. Every day you have the freedom to say, okay, what should I do today? What do I want to do? So open source software for me is freedom. It is the freedom to adapt the code, a solution to my needs. It is for me the freedom to review the code for security. For sure, mostly it's not done, but I could if I would. Yeah? Or I know somebody who is able to do it. Yeah? And we have the freedom to get some fundings and to sponsor features and make them public. Public money, public code. If maybe a part of Germany or of the government or a company or people decide to develop a feature, it's open and available to everybody. So I can share it, like going to holidays with somebody and I take with me in the car. And for sure, it's the freedom to decide to which I'm working with, which company, which developers, which solution integrators. But it's also the freedom, I call it the negative freedom, to not be part and bound to proprietary license strategy, to not be bound to a seller or a system company that is licensed and that has the only way for me to get to a product and to work with, because maybe I don't like them or I don't trust them. I can choose everybody I want to work with, because in general it's open source, even it's a commercial solution. And I have also the freedom to stay with the software solution once it is up and running, as long as I want. Nobody can steal it and shut it down just for strategic business reasons or because the company was bought by somebody. If the solution is up and running, and unless security is maintained and guaranteed, I can run it for 10 years, which maybe saves a lot of money. And maybe also saves a lot of effort if the government sets up a cloud or a solution and it's working for 8 or 10 or 12 years. They don't have to replace it after 4 or 5 years just for legal reasons. So I can do whatever I want in a positive or in a negative way. But then we had the example of own cloud, one of the examples. It's just one, but it happens in Nuremberg, right where we are today. So because ownCloud was or is a Nuremberg company, and a lot of people from ownCloud living here, was found 15 years ago doing file sharing. I think most of you have heard about ownCloud, used it or know from it. It's also the solution, the stack, written in PHP, where Nextcloud was a fork in 2016. But some years ago, the team of ownCloud, and this is really, we have to appreciate, they decided to do a complete modern rewrite in Go. Cloud native, scalable, secure, because the old PHP LAMP stack for sure was outdated and not sufficient for the needs that we have in the future if we need file sharing. So they did a rewrite some years ago. It took several years, spent a lot of money, so this is really, we have to appreciate it. They paid it. But also this software was published under open source or several open source licenses. It was given to the public even if the company spent a lot of money to do it. And the team of ownCloud is really famous to work public and with the community on GitHub. Everybody can join the channel and see what they're doing. I did this talk some weeks ago or some months ago in Munich, where the storage conference was, and the guy from CERN, or the moderator of the conference, there asked, is file storage still relevant? Are we outdated? Files? Seriously? Yeah, it's 2025, we're talking about files. And then I entered the stage and I said, no, it's not relevant. It's mission critical. It's business critical. It's more than relevant. We need it. In my opinion, files is a key component. It is essential for the digitalization and for the strategy, for an IT strategy as of today for the enterprises and for the government. Because where the files are located and stored, there I have all my knowledge of the company, of my team, of my government, and there I will use all the tools and collaboration stuff and integrated services like email, like calendar, like video conference, even that, like chat systems. 15 years ago, I said email is the key component. This is why we founded mailbox.org. Because I said we need an email ISP on a higher level that can compete with O365, with Gmail Suite and stuff like that, where we have perfect email solutions to get the people staying in Germany and on our offers. But as of today, I think it's files, because companies are moving to O365, storing all the files. They can't use anything else in a good way, like external conference solutions or open source stuff, if it's not integrated and working with the data they store in the US clouds of O365. So if we want to win and if we want to compete with what the US cloud-based SaaS services are offering, where we see every day in the news that companies are going public to the O365 offer or stuff like that, we have to compete with the perfect file management. And this is what I see in the ownCloud rewrite. It was called openSUSE, ownCloud Infinite Scale, rewritten in Go. It has nothing to do with the old PHP stuff, but started and designed to have the perfect file management. So yes, it is not relevant, it's mission critical, and I think if we want to have an open source strategy, and a strategy of digital sovereignty, and for me it's also national security, because if I'm not digital sovereign, I'm not political independent, and then also my national security is maybe not that safe anymore. We need file sharing and file sync offers that can compete. And this is totally relevant also for the public known projects in Germany, Europe, like OpenDesk, La Suite in France, and stuff like that, where we try to build a governmental desktop and all that stuff. If we will lose the files to the cloud, then everything is gone. So this is also relevant for me. I cannot sell OpenTalk as a video conference solution if they're just using Teams, because everything of the company is still or already there. So what happened 1.5 years ago, the US cloud, the US investor Kiteworks bought ownCloud here in Nuremberg by the Swiss sub-company, but anyway. And this was really a surprise to me, because Kiteworks is not an open source based and open source driven companies. And they bought some more, like Dracoon, here in Regensburg, also from Germany, but a closed source shop. And we've been afraid what will happen to the great code of openSUSE. What will they do? Have they bought just customers to shut down the software? Will they maintain the code? Will they migrate their platform to openSUSE? We don't know. So this really leads to, we had a lot of phone calls the days after when the selling was announced at the Smart Country Convention. And also we have spoken to a lot of ownCloud people, employees who called us and asked us. And yeah, a lot of business companies from the well-known Open Source Business Alliance and what are doing business here in Europe, they have been really concerned about what was going on. Because if we will lose the ownCloud file storage, then for sure everybody has a problem. But at the beginning, Some people of the team asked for an application in our company and to join or want to leave because they said, now it's US driven, it's not my company anymore. And we rejected this one, or I rejected those applications because I told them, no, you have to stay, you have to continue, it's so important. Please stay there and go for it. Go for openSUSE, develop it further, and it will come to the good end. Please continue. But at the end, a lot of people from that team, from the openSUSE team, told me one day, we will quit, we will leave. If you don't take us, we'll go somewhere else, and then openSUSE, I don't know what, but we will not work as a team anymore, we will not work on the code anymore. And this was the day where we at Heinlein Group said, okay, somebody has to do it. I tried to found a new company as a holder for the ownCloud openSUSE team with other companies of Germany, has not worked, so we had to do it alone. And we said, okay, we asked our employees, are we able to fund this team? Are we able to found a new company and pay everything? Because once you're starting, you have 20 employees asking for money and food from your side. And our existing team said, okay, we will find the money and we will fund it and we will sponsor it to found a new company. And they also believed in what we did here, that it is totally relevant and we have to do this. So, once more, ownCloud was, even the openSUSE part of the AGPL and the openSUSE licenses. It is free software. So everybody has the possibility to do it. Everybody can take over the code, fork the code, adopt the code, do whatever you want. And this is what you maybe know, a nice, great book for children. For me, it's a perfect book for people in the government. I gave it away many, many times as a present all over the world. If you want to understand openSUSE, read this book with your children. So I gave it to several ministries of ICT all over the world, and yeah, got good feedback. It was written by Matthias Kirschner, the board chairman of the openSUSE Free Software Foundation, sorry. So, yeah, a community has to do what a community has to do. This is what we said one day last summer. So we found a new company. We said, okay, we will take over the team. Let's fork. So a fork could also be something that has related with evolving, strengthness. Okay. So we started this January. It's not that long time ago, half a year ago, 5 months ago, with some of the developers of the old team and some new guys. Very interesting, also including the product management, the QA, and the help desk team, or some people of that. And yeah, we did the fork of what was available at GitHub. No internal code, nothing, just only a fork of GitHub, which was, Klaas can give a talk about it, the CTO is sitting right there. Even forking a software is something you have to learn, and they developed some weeks away on how to fork a software and how to change names and how to do all the stuff. Quite interesting, but this is a talk by itself. So we forked the openSUSE code on GitHub and released it in February, and with a long-term support as a commercial offer in March as openCloud, to make sure that this code is developed and it will be available in the future. So for sure we had the cooperations and the partnerships with stuff like Collabora, online offices, and also for sure the integration of OpenTalk, our video conference solution. And we will do much, much more, like integrating an Office suite with calendar, contacts, and groupware stuff to ownCloud, because this is also needed. If I have the files and not the answer for how to work with it, then we also will lose the war against the US cloud SaaS services. And yeah, it's also maybe relevant for all of those who are still stuck on PHP stuff and on the old solutions and need an answer on what to do. So, but it's interesting on an open source perspective, what happened here? For those customers who decided to go for an open source software solution like ownCloud, also for the commercial customers who paid maybe a lot of money for it, also for the government to make a bid, who have 4 or 5 years contracts, who really decided, okay, we want to buy open source software and focus on that, they had the possibility to see what's going on and to decide what to do. While those who went to the competitor Dracoon, who was a closed source software, they don't have any solution, they don't have any possibility on freedom to decide what to do, because they cannot look for somebody else maintaining the code, go with another company. They are stuck to Dracoon, to Kiteworks, which was also, Dracoon was bought by Kiteworks. So they lost their freedom, or they never had it. And for me, this is a perfect example about the freedom of open source. And for me, it's also the proof of what I told the people in the government, in the business, all over the world, the media, that open source is sustainable. That open source gives me political and strategic independence. That digital sovereignty is not just a buzzword, it is something that is really important and also could save a lot of money. And also for today, can save a lot of time, because maybe we have some more money in the government, but who is able to do the work? We don't have people to work on the project. So doing a migration, doing a next tender to find a successor solution, because they are not able to continue with the existing solution. It was closed source and shut down or bought. No. They had the chance, or they have the chance to simply sit back and relax, see what happens, and see if the open source solution will be maybe forked or can continue. And maybe now they can decide to go with the open cloud team. So why is open source so strong and so important? Because it works. Not the first time in history that we had a fork to rescue a software or to get it back into the open source market, or to keep it open source. But for me, a modern example and a very relevant example, because we had some really relevant installations running on the old OTSIS stuff, and now they don't have to die or to migrate. Just to say, we are not interested in changing the business model. We did it as Hainan Group. We did it to rescue the code, to maintain the code, and to continue simply. We told the team, just continue to work, do what you did in the past time. We don't want to do crazy stuff with you, and we have not taken over the team for something completely new. We have to take over the team to just make sure the development will continue. For sure, we had some new ideas. We will put some new people in the team, or we had already. And for sure, there will be some nice file management features. This is not maybe the topic for today, but if you're in the file storage stuff, this could be very interesting to talk to Klaas and Tobias, who are here from the team. And a really nice feature I want to highlight is the file native backup, or the POSIX-FS stuff, because OwnCloud, OwnCloud OTSIS, Open Cloud, we do not have a database. We can store the metadata in the file system, so we can work in the live file system or on the top of a live file system, which is very interesting for science, for medical stuff, and also maybe for companies, because we don't have to write all the data in the database. So we can accept changes on the file system level and simply import it to our internal metadata. Yes, but what we will change and what we will do in the future here, and I want to come back to what I said at the beginning, we need an answer. We need a solution for all those companies who want or who have to migrate to O365. We need a digital sovereign workplace. And so we need an answer they want to have. What we have out there, we have a lot of highly professional open source companies doing one part of the whole open source stack, who are perfect experts in what they're doing. Email, files, conference, Collabora Office, I don't know what, perfectly. Maybe most of the time much better than commercial solutions because of the strength of the community. But what people need out there, the normal user, is a highly integrated, horizontal integrated solution where I just have my workflow all over the parts of my work desk and not just a single solution. So in my opinion, maybe we have the better quality, but we don't have the better integration, and this makes us not compatible against what we have out there. We have had a lot of projects finding the digital sovereign workplace for the government, not only in Germany, but also in other parts of Europe or maybe all over the world. But they started in combining existing projects, which is normally quite fine because this is open source. Use what you have, integrate it, adopt it, improve it. This is normally the open source stuff. But what we had here after several years, we're working for that since, I think, 2019 on those projects. We're still struggling with colors, theming, single sign-on and stuff like that, and not really a deep integration of the workflow, not something that is really sexy to me as a user, because they always take several monolithic blocks and try to create something on top over it. And I also was part of those projects many times, a long time, and I always believed this and said, yes, go for it, this is the way we have to do. I changed my mind, because after several years I have to state we are not there where we should be. We don't have that great solutions like we should have. We can tell people go for it because you have to, but we don't have the solution that people go for it because they want to. They want Gmail Suite, they want O365, they want to have a one-stop shop, even if maybe, from my opinion, the quality is bad and I dislike the look and feel of O365, but people have to handle what their employees want to have at the end of the day. I think we have to create and rethink, we have to create something with a deeply horizontal integration of all components, all modern components, to go and to compete with the existing solutions out there, made by companies having so much money and so many employees and so many developers, which is really hard to compete against. But we have to go for it. And for me, a groupware solution or a workplace stack is like an orchestra. Many different instruments in it, working totally different. A violin and a clarinet is totally different, and even sounding totally different. But once, if I have a general concept, a piece, a masterpiece written for this orchestra, and a great conductor who is keeping everything together, then everything is integrated smoothly and creating a great experience overall. So this is for me the perfect picture on how our workplace stack in 2025 should work. So mission accepted, let's do it. And I have to speed it up, and I just want to scratch it a little bit to give you an insight what we're doing. We decided to create a new groupware on top of OpenCloud or in OpenCloud, because getting OpenCloud here was a great gift to the Heinlein Group. They came to us, we just got the software, and now we have also the chance, but also I think the responsibility to do something more great out there. So we decided to put a groupware solution on the great technology, on top of the great technology of openSUSE or OpenCloud in this case. Yeah, for sure, we are an open source company, so for sure this should and must be available as a software as a service solution, because this is what maybe companies, enterprises, and also the governors wants to have, just buy it somewhere. So we need some carrier or ISPs who are able to deliver, but for sure we are an open source company. We need on-prem solutions for science, for ministries, for companies, for enterprises, for security reasons, for privacy reasons. So this must also run on both solutions. While the US cloud SaaS services, it's mostly impossible to run them on-prem. You can just get them from the cloud. Since we have a lot of technical experienced people in the team, I once wrote a book about IMAP, and I went with IMAP for 30 years of my life. But also here I decided, no, we have 2025. We are in cloud native mode today. We need an API-based and a more modern protocol, and JMAP is out there. Some years ago, Fastmail and some others started to create JMAP, which is an API-based, JSON-based mail protocol, which is much more efficient and matching much better the needs of a SaaS service and a cloud service. And also with Stalwart JMAP, a great tool. You heard about it maybe last 6 months. We're going with them for 2 years right now and taking care or just watching what they're doing and talking to them. So we have a new system based on JMAP. This is quite interesting because Stalwart JMAP can also handle contacts and calendar and maybe even file stuff. So we need not only a better integration and a horizontal integration and modern tools, we need also a better software stack and a better technology. And I also decided, okay, maybe it's not IMAP anymore in the future. It was not that easy for me, sorry. Why are we at Heinlein? This is crazy. And for sure, this is way too big just to stand here and say, okay, let's do O365 and open source. For sure, they have a little bit more money than we, but we are open source and we have a lot of partners. And we can use our brain in the open source community. And we have two great benefits. We have OpenTalk as a perfect competition to WebEx, Zoom, and Teams. And yes, in some countries and in some parts of Germany, we have already kicked out commercial solutions out of the market, and they replaced it with OpenTalk. Schleswig-Holstein announced it last week. Thüringen is, and also the German Minister of Interiors is evaluating it to go to our open source communication solution here. And we have the open cloud. And those are I think, the most complex and most difficult parts of a groupware integration stack. And also we have a great back end and a ready design front end, so we can simply fix the mail, calendar, and contact stuff, which is still quite a lot of work, for sure, but it's a smaller part of work than doing everything from scratch, for sure. So groupware and email, for sure, this is what my company did in the past. We know what to do. We know what email is, so it makes totally sense. The Open Cloud team joined our team. We are email experts, so let's do a groupware solution. Makes totally sense, and we have a starting position where I think we can make it. For sure, also this is a roadmap obviously written by the CEO who wants to be fast, but also maybe also covered by the technical team. We already started some weeks ago, really feeling good and working great in the last few weeks. So we are starting with the implementation. We will also find some more developers. We found a subsidiary in Kenya, so we have some employees working in Kenya for us in our team, and we will find more and more developers down there to work and to join our team. So we will have the man and the woman power to do and to speed it up by acceptable costs. And if everything's working right, I hope that we'll have a minimal visible product, or I call it a minimal usable product, in December, maybe January, but not that far away. And I would love to have the version 1 in next summer or in Q3 of next year. I don't know if we can make it, but for sure this is our goal, and everybody in the team is committed and said, okay, we could do this. We would love to join forces with other companies for the open source communities. People working in this area want to contribute. Open Cloud is totally open developed, and this is just a new module in Open Cloud, so go for the metrics channel and for GitHub and talk to us. This is not only a commercial and enterprise stuff, this is also, I think, we have to work together to find a team that is able to do this. And also we are looking for an architecture advisory board. I think we need 5 people from the government, from the telcos, from the enterprises, maybe from the community, from the science, to make sure that what we are doing here with the team, what we think that is a good solution, that they also agree and give us some advice on features, on usability and all that stuff, so we are able to develop it right on spot to the market. Yeah, so we are here today. Klaas and Toby are sitting there in the middle. Just raise your hands if you want to talk to the CTO of Klaas. Klaas was at SUSE 20 years ago, so maybe a lot of you don't correct me, I don't know, round about 20 years ago. So also he's addicted to SUSE. I was with SUSE every day, all the time. So great to be here, and we love if you get in touch with us and talk to us. And now, thanks for your time. We have 2 minutes for questions before we have to take the photo out there. And also, I would love to, if you get in touch with me out there in the break in the afternoon.
Any questions? Anyone? All right. Well, okay. We have one. After this, there'll be the group photo. We'll do it out here on the hill.
I have a just basic question. As we are targeting the MVP in December 2025, what is the primary value propositions that we are targeting for the customers for Open Cloud?
The value proposition?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, at the beginning, it's just the groupware stack. It's a minimal visible product. What we have in mind and what is on the roadmap, and we also did in some workshops, is a holistic approach on how to work with that data, which is for sure maybe not the version 1, but the version 2. So if we have a modern horizontal integrated workplace, I have to zoom maybe to a file and to see what happened with that file, people related to the file, contacts and events related to the file, what happened, maybe this file was sent to me in a video conference, so I have to connect everything together. And since we have the great chance to start from scratch, we can develop a database model from scratch that is ready to handle all those informations in a good way. This is a benefit we have because we start now and we don't have the old existing database models from the old versions. For me, it's a little bit, to be honest, a little bit like the old Microsoft Exchange stuff, where everything was just a database object. And if everything is just a database object in the theory, in the architecture, then you connect everything with everything. And this is what we try to approach there. And this is what I think we need to have the modern way of working. You sent me a file 2 weeks ago. I don't know the name anymore. So let's go to the timeline and see what happened on that Thursday while I was in the conference to show me what changes and what happened on my system. This would be great if we could achieve that. This is what we are going for. Stuff like that.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
We could probably take one more question. Anyone? Okay. Thank you, Pierre.
Lunchtime break, photo session. Don't forget the photo.
Photo session. I want to thank you and the Heinlein group for fighting for open source. So thank you. Give them a round of applause.